Do you have any birthdays or anniversaries this morning? I forgot to get paper in the back, but if there was anybody, you probably have ducked out for. I have somebody that's one. Going to be one this week. Oh, okay.
Everything came in the door.
All right. There might be a couple others, but they're kind of trying not to be noticed. So. All right. All right, children, if you'll help us out, we will have our pre-march.
You say F. Okay.
No, we're good. All right. Thank you to the children for your help this morning. All right. Do you think you ought to pass out Father's Day at the end of service when you get some more?
It's up to you.
Well, that's the way we'll do it. If I could get a couple of young people to help me out and have somebody standing by the doors at the end of service, we will pass our gifts for Father's Day. I know we did it different for Mother's Day, but maybe we'll catch a few more. We are a little limited, but we do have something for the fathers. We appreciate all of the fathers that are here, and we appreciate all the fathers, not just the ones that are here. I should say that, but we will have something special for them, and we will try to pass it out at the end of service there. Am I missing anything else that I need to mention? Now, I do want to make one small, I want to say one small thing. When Pastor Joe's up here preaching, please try to pay attention to him and not look at all decorations. I enjoyed it. I just saw it. So, all right. Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for the opportunity to gather in your house and to worship you. Thank you for your help in the Sunday school hour. We pray that you help us in the coming service. Help us in all that we do to honor and glorify you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning. Good to see everyone here this morning. Be here. Does anyone remember what Paul and Alpha sang last Sunday night? Life is like a mountain railroad. I'm going. It was 1 week too early, wasn't it? And then nice they could have sang that tonight, wouldn't it? Or today. Anyway, we appreciate that song. Appreciate it. The decorations is happening for Vacation Bible School. I believe Devon Moore is going to lead the song service for us. Let's get a hymnal and sing together. We're ready. Right. Sister Devon.
Good morning.
Morning.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are here this morning. I think it's a job for the not weak of heart, right? Okay, if you'd stand with me, we're going to read the reading on number 733, Fatherhood. I'll read the light print and you will read the dark print. Number 733, Fatherhood. Okay, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
Honor your father and mother.
Listen to a father's instruction, pay attention, and gain understanding.
What son is not disciplined by his father?
We have all had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it.
How much more should we submit to the Father of our spirits and live?
Our fathers disciplined us for a little while as they thought best.
But God disciplines us for our good, that we may share his holiness.
If you know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him?
I will be a father to you, and you will be my sons and daughters, says the Lord Almighty.
How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called the children of God.
O Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay, you are the potter. We are all the work of your hands.
Okay, if you remain standing, we'll start out and sing number 93, Children of the Heavenly Father. Number 93. Okay, you may be seated. To turn to number 75. We'll sing that. This is my Father's world.
prayer. Remember the rest of today for Ocean Lady Camp, that the Lord be with them and help them. Also, Vacation Bible School begins tomorrow evening. You can guess something's happening because of the way the church is decorated this morning. But remember Vacation Bible School, pray for it all week. We'll be saying some more about that later on. Remember Gerald Barnhart, keep praying for him. This morning, Lou Kirks is, to the best of my knowledge, still in the hospital, but hopefully gets to come home today. Several more days than they thought, but keep praying for the Kirkses. Bob Forrest, keep praying for the Bob, Tom Cunningham, Doris Shawley, David Lelf, and I understand David Lelf is getting pretty weak or pretty low, so pray for them, that the Lord would help them. Keith and Crystal Schaefer family, keep praying for them, and also Crystal's eyes. Josiah Goins in the military. District Church of Great Bend for this week. And the prayer line was Lou Kirks and Steve Darden. Right, I thought so. It says Darden. I thought soon I said that, that's not right. But how is he?
Mom, you ought to give him. He's in ICU now.
Okay.
A little bit better.
Good.
His oxygen goes down.
Okay, good. He's in the hospital. That's your sister Norma's nephew, hospital with COVID and pneumonia. And I see you remember them in prayer.
then some of you may remember during BBS times there was a colored lady that would bring her grandsons here to BBS, and was very faithful to do that. Well, I was able to see her, and I gave her a pamphlet, the flyer. But she said that her grandsons had moved to Tulsa. One was 12 and one's 7. That she would bring. Her daughter moved there because her son-in-law died of COVID back in the beginning of it, and they're having a very hard time with this. And I told her that I would, that we would pray for her.
Yes.
I know this daughter, last name is Jones. I don't know what her last name was, but if you could just think of them and pray for the mom and the daughter and the 2 grandkids, they would appreciate it.
Yes. Remember that request, yes.
Joe, I'd like to mention this here. For our Sunday school lesson this morning and everything, it really got me thinking. And where I live at now and everything, around my area it has really changed a lot. I am around a lot of people that don't even know Jesus. And so I would really appreciate everybody praying about that.
Yes. Yes.
Because,
Yes.
I do need prayer for
Yes. Yes.
It's getting worse instead of better, but they all need to know Jesus.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Good request.
Let's remember Chloe and Cassie. Chloe got saved down at Texas camp, and her mom said she wants to get saved.
Good. Good. Remember them in prayer. Yes.
My granddaughter, Beth.
Beth. Brother Vestal's granddaughter, Beth.
My Aunt Miriam, she needs to have surgery, and she's kind of up there in years, and she's one of my last close relatives, so kind of worried. So.
Remember Andrea's aunt in prayer. Yes. All right, other unspoken requests. Let's kneel together in prayer.
Oh, dear Lord, your mercy is great. Heavenly Father, the dew of this morning, we thank you for dear Lord Jesus, I want to glorify you. Asking the Lord to pray that Heavenly Father, so soon, only you, we will see the and it's down to you, lead in this way, we pray, Heavenly Father, thou seest, thou know, thou see every blessing. Father, we can't forget you. Heavenly Lord, but you heard them and just ask that you would be here. Remember the great gifts that are Lord is Savior, be with Brother Keith, Sister Christy. Oh, dear Lord Jesus, we would ask for good glory. Oh, pray, Savior, be there. Remember David Father, we pray that you would oh, dear Lord Jesus, Lord, remember Sister Liz. Lord, we pray you just ask that you would double strengthen their mind and soul, Father, may we see
Now let's turn to number 44. Oh.
Just gonna do the offering, that's all.
Okay.
Alright, before I do the offering, I want to mention Brother Dave got up here last week and requested help for my family. And you all know the situation, not working, and we were moving and needed some appliances. And I want to say great big thank you. By the time church was out Sunday evening, we had all the appliances we needed. And in my view, a large financial gift as well. And I can't say thank you enough for everything you've done. I'd like to thank especially the Matt Hunter family, the Allen family, Daryl and Becca, as well as Lawrence helped us out, and Ryan Rothgeb, and I think Zeke Trimble all came and helped us move in some way or another. Sister Martha Davolt provided supper. I should say an extra special thank you to Sister Miranda, because she kept our children all day long. Like, we dropped them off at 8:30 and picked them up at 6:30. So, I think we're still friends. Anyway, thank you to everyone for helping us out in such a way. I really appreciate it. I can't tell you how much we appreciate everything everybody's done for us, and I appreciate that very much. And I feel like I should take the moment, since you were asked specifically to help us out, to say thank you very much for the way that you've helped us and made everything work. So I appreciate that very much. I just realized, Brother Joe, neither of our secretaries are here. Where did we deliver the funds when we put? All right, I guess bring them to me when it's over. That's what he said. All right. Brother Darrell, would you ask the blessing on the offering, please?
Dear Father, thank you. We're about ready to sing about your faithfulness. You are so faithful to us. Thank you so much. And I pray that you would strengthen this church. You can do that financially. You can help us to use the funds well. You can meet all our needs. And we're about ready to go to VBS, and I pray that you meet those needs too. And for the glory of God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Sister.
Yeah. Number 44. Praise
Kara has something she wants to inform us about, or whatever it is for Vacation Bible School.
Wasn't sure the best way to do it. I'll just tell you from here. So in case you couldn't tell, BBS is this week, and those of you, first I want to say thank you for those of you. Thank you for those of you who volunteered and or agreed when you were requested. And I know it's Father's Day, and I want to take like literally 3 minutes. If you wouldn't just mind meeting in the back real quick at the end of service. Just to touch base on a few things. And then I forgot my notes, so 1 second. The rest of you. So I think I haven't been here this summer yet, but I know Brother Joe had mentioned that Friday is going to be a little different with lots of fun things, and I'm really excited about it. It'll be more exciting if there's more help. So if anyone is able to come and just be muscles or just help set up or tear down. If you can't be there the whole time, that's fine. If you can be there for just a little bit and just help. We have a jumping thing to set up. We can try, but if there's more hands, it'll be even funner. If that's a word. And anyways, so that's this Friday. There's going to be a little program with the kids at 6, and then the fun things outside will begin afterwards, as long as it's not raining. So please pray for no rain as well. This evening after church, we're going to pass out flyers around the neighborhood, and we'll have flyers too if you know anyone that you could give them to. So if you're able to do that, feel free to come in tennis shoes. And we'll do that after church tonight. I'm just making sure I said it. Oh, and then this evening, we're going to need, if there's anyone able to help, we're going to need to move some of the tables from the dining hall over here for registration. I haven't talked to Becca, and for crafts in the basement. Okay, so if you're here tonight and able to do that, that would be exciting as well. So I think that's all. Did I miss anything? Okay, and if you're helping in any shape or form this evening or this morning, if you don't, meeting after church in the back for 3 minutes, you can time me. All right.
Thank you, Karen. This week, no teens or young people service at the school this week because of that. Also, no pastor devotional this week either. Prayer time will still be at 5 to 5:30 if you can make it on that for Wednesday evening. There still opens in the snacks back there. If you haven't signed up for snacks and there's any place to sign up, sign up.
I think we have all, except for the last night, and we'll talk about that
Okay.
tonight.
When you want us to talk about that?
Probably tonight.
Tonight, okay. And then again, a lot of help needed Friday evening. Next Sunday morning, the Allegheny Wesley College Ladies Trio will be with us, and so pray for them. Pray and plan here to be here for that. They'll be here in the morning service after Sunday school. They do need some sack lunches or to-go lunches. They need 5 of those. And Susan said, "All you've been saying that you haven't got any hands on somebody be willing to do that." So somebody willing to prepare 5 sack lunches for 5 ladies. Okay. Thank you. If you have a prayer line request, call Susan, and if you'd like to be added or changes or anything, get with Susan, and she's helping Lou do that while Sister Lou is in the hospital and recovering. So remember that.
And we're
updating the prayer line too. So July the 4th in the evening, we're planning on having a patriotic service, and we'll see what we can get transpiring there. But plan on being here that evening, July the 4th. And also, there's a notice on the bulletin board. Francis and Edward Wagner's 65th wedding anniversary is June the 23rd, and their address is on the bulletin board. If you'd like to send them a card, it is a card shower for them for their wedding anniversary. We have a thank you card from from the Shapers. Albert and Della Shaper will put that on the bulletin board also. You can read that.
I have an announcement. The church that we live next door to gets bread given to them, and they didn't have very many people come yesterday. So after church in my van, I've got bread and hot dog buns, hamburger buns, anybody that wants it.
Okay. Hot bread in the van after church.
Yes.
All of it you want, she sounds like.
I left the windows down.
Oh, the cats are in there. There's a lot of cats around here. All right. Someone have a word of testimony you'd like to give today?
I'd like to say something.
Sure.
Because this morning and everything, I wouldn't have been here and everything because I had battery problems and I was afraid I would drive over here and then I wouldn't get myself home and then I'd have to ask for help. And that really just kind of bothered me. But this morning I had a friend from Parsons. He came over and he helped me with my battery and everything. And I thought Wednesday I was going to have to buy me a brand new one. Well, I don't have to and everything. And I just want to thank my Jesus for helping me everything in my life. You know, it's really wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to thank the Lord for what He's done for me. Tuesday night, I was kind of frazzled. The teens could tell you that. And I started talking about one thing, ended up talking about a couple different things. One about positive attitude, how it can change things. But also be giving thanks to the Lord. And then I realized sitting there that telling them that I had not told the Lord thank you publicly. So I shared it with them. But during Enterprise Youth Camp, while the guys were gone, Andrea was with me on the job site, and I had a wire pinch while I was, 35, 40 foot in the air or whatever, and killed my machine. And, well, as I've said, so far I've never had to have the fire department come get me down. I've had hydraulic lines blow when I'm up in the air over power lines and things like that, and so far we've always been able to get it fixed where I could get down. But when the machines have safeties on them, so when things like that happen, things can't go wrong. And the functions that it had not killed, the wire that pinched grounded out a bunch of functions, but the ones that it did not kill was the down function. And I want to thank the Lord for that, because I do not really plan on or want to get stuck up in the air in that machine. And so, especially with where I was at, it would have been very difficult to get to me. And so I want to thank the Lord that, that's maybe something small to a lot of people. The fix was honestly really cheap, 50 cents, something like that, for a little tiny new pin and a piece of wire, and I was back in business, and a few hours later. But I want to thank the Lord that He's been with me. He's kept me safe, no matter where I've been, what I've been doing. The other day, driving down the road, and had a tire blow, and honestly, I wouldn't have ever known it blown if I hadn't looked in the mirror just in time to see all the dust go flying off. It's the joy of having 8 tires on your trailer. You don't notice things like that. And then the spare got put on, and I told Dad I had an hour trip. I was coming home slowly because the spare was old. And I got home, and the spare should have blown. It was in, I've never seen a tire so close to blowing but not blowing. There was wires sticking out of it and all that, and it was still holding air. So, but I feel that God has been with us, and He's helped us. He's kept us safe. He's provided time and time again. He's protected us. I love Him this morning. I want to thank Him for what He's done. Brother James was mentioning Palmdale Camp. We were talking in Sunday school. He said it's been 25 years, and I realize that makes it's been 22 years this year since Palmdale Camp when the Lord saved me.
Good.
And that's hard to believe, but I started doing the math, and oh my goodness. And I want to thank Him for that, that He was true to me then, He's still true to me now. And it doesn't matter if you're at camp meeting or if you're at your local church or if you're at home. The Lord can work and talk to you right where you're at, no matter what age you are. I love Him, and I praise Him for what He's done for me this morning.
Amen.
Tom, Mike, we've been on the way in. And saying, we could have been born a lot, what if we had born, say, in 1930 or so? I was thankful that we had air conditioning. You know, it may sound funny, but everybody had to survive without it. And that's just something that's nice, you know. God is good to us, and it's so easy to not look at that. I thank you.
Yes. All right, pray for Carol. Kara, she has a special verse. Or do you have it?
Both of us.
Both.
Really will just get listen to the words.
We'll dedicate this to Don. It's one of his favorite songs, and he's requested that we sing a Spanish verse, so, but the second verse will be in Spanish.
Strength I find.
special this morning. We appreciate that. As been said, it is Father's Day today, and we appreciate each one of you are here. Each father that's here this morning, we say thank you. I feel like a little different message this morning, although it is along the line of fathers, but I do want you to know that each one of you are appreciated, and I feel like all of you are doing a good job the best you can, and we say thank you to each one of the fathers here this morning. As I've said before, probably on Father's Day, we live in a different world today, and maybe we'll be covering a little bit of that, but we do appreciate each one of you, and we say thank you for the good job that you're doing, and may God bless you for that. John chapter 3, verse 16 and 17. John chapter 3, verse 16 and 17. So that is a strange, maybe for Father's Day, that I think the time we're finished, maybe you'll understand what we're really thinking about that this morning. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. You fathers here, and I'm confident each one of you love your families. You love your children. And some of the harder things to do as a father is to watch your children suffer. That's hard to do. It's hard to especially if you know what's going to happen and you can't do anything about it, it's hard to handle. As a father myself, and as the other fathers here this morning knows, that we do everything we can to protect our families. We just do that. And I was meditating on this thought. God so loved the world that he gave his Son. And when I started thinking the ramifications of that and how that really would have cost the Father to give his only begotten Son for us, he paid a tremendous price for us. Most of us, if our children's hurting, we want to do everything possible to prevent that. If our children's suffering, we do everything possible to relieve that. If our children have a need, we do everything possible to meet that. But to say to our son, for the salvation of the world, I'm going to have to let you be offered. That's a tremendous cost for you and I this morning. Even though the Son, Jesus Christ, was okay with it, at least to a point, the decision to follow through with it cost him also. And that was the prayer in the garden. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. And that was the purpose of sending his Son and giving his Son, was that you and I might know him, we might be forgiven of our sins, we might be saved. That was the whole purpose of that. And I'm going as the Father's heart. That had to be a difficult, but we know God is God, and that was the best, and it's turned out to be the best for every one of us too. We have the plan of salvation because of that. I also want to look in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through 27. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 through 27. And yes, I came to church this morning, and a lot of this has already been said, and I love it when that happens. The theme kind of goes one way. Ephesians 5, 25 through verse 27. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present it to himself, a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Husbands, love your wives. And I do appreciate each one that's here this morning. I want you to say that. I want to say that. But husbands, love your wives. If it's anything that we need today, it's not outstanding fathership. It's not a father that can provide everything for his children. It's not a father that can give his children whatever they want. It's not a father that's some kind of an outstanding person. What we need is fathers that loves their families and loves their wives. That's what we need today. And all the thought about love we had in Sunday school class, love the homeless, love those around about us. We have a great need today for us fathers to really be in love with mankind. Not just our own families, but it starts out, husbands, love your wives. And if we want to set an example for our children, our first priority as a husband is to love our wife. That's the first priority. And yes, we hear a lot about love, and you fall in love and all of these supposed things that happens like that. I will tell you, love's a choice this morning. You can choose to love. And even though sometimes and I'm not talking about wives right here when I say this, okay? Sometimes those around about us are not as lovable as others. But we can learn to love. We can ask God to help us to love one another. Husbands, love your wives. There is nothing that provides more security, more of a feeling of security. Repeat the word, but there's nothing that provides more of that than a stable home life for children. Where the father loves the mother, there's nothing that can help a child more than that. I will tell you, a child can grow up without a lot of things. A child doesn't have to have a lot of toys. Have you ever noticed how many toys are in rummage sales? Have you ever noticed how many toys are bought and hardly played with? I guess that's my soapbox a little bit, but it's important today for us to let children to figure out how to entertain themselves. And it doesn't have to be on a phone, okay? Or a computer. Let children figure out their own fun. And that's good for them. It's good for their development. It's of course, I'm not saying, well, that's the way I was raised. Well, it was the way I was raised, but that's not why I'm saying it this morning. We can fill children with so many things that they never develop on their own. Some of us, and I was one, that we encourage our children to crawl as quick as we can, and to stand up as quick as they can, and to walk as quick as they can. But sometimes we fall short in the development of their other resources that they have, like how to get your hands on this and do that. If I have a regret about being a father, it is that I really didn't involve my children. It's just easier to do things myself. And I should have involved them more as I was doing things, and I see that now. But we need to love our wives and let our children see that we love our wives. But there's even more than that. Even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for us, for it, should not we fathers be willing to lay down our lives for our family? And that is a two-part laying down of our lives for our family. And I'm not on to anybody here again. I want you to know I appreciate everyone, but let's think about this. Would I be willing to lay my life down for their safety? And the answer to that is I should be. I want to be that way. And the other is, whether am I willing to lay my life aside for my family? Lay down my life for my family. An interesting thing about this that I was thinking along this line, when he says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave for himself, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. And that, I wasn't dwelling so much on that verse, but the next verse, that it might present it to himself, a glorious church. That he might present it to himself as a glorious church. And what I'm thinking along that line is there's things we do that's right as fathers. There's things we should do as fathers that is right. Sometimes there's no recognition. Sometimes there's no profit. Sometimes there's no benefit, if you will, other than the fact that we can we can congratulate ourselves, if you want to use those words, on a job well done. A silly example of that, I know. But a silly example of that. This week, a lot of farmers was cutting wheat. And the farmers that I'm around, that I work for right now, they were working on combines instead of cutting wheat. It should have been done a long time ago, and I tell you that too. But they were working on combines instead of cutting wheat. Well, I wasn't over at the farm. I was still over here. And we were trying to catch everything else up over here so we could help over there. And we caught up somewhat. So I spent several days getting my truck polished and shined up. And we would laugh, and I said, I know the first job's going to be 10 miles down a gravel road. I know that's what, it didn't happen that way, but that's what will happen. And I told the man that I work for, I said, I've got the truck all, I've even got the wheels on the trailer polished. I've got it all polished up, ready to go. And he just starts laughing and says, it's going to take you a lot of polish and a lot of rags to keep it that way through wheat harvest. And I know, I was just laughing too. I took it down a gravel road before I put the first load on it. But I will tell you what happened in my thoughts is I had the satisfaction of it looking like I wanted it to look when I started. Knowing that it was going to have dust on it in no time. In fact, as I parked it inside a couple of nights so it wouldn't get dust on it. But the whole idea was I was doing it for me and my satisfaction more than anything else. And sometimes when we're serving God and we're trying to raise our families and we're trying to do the right thing, if nothing else happens, we can have the satisfaction of knowing that I did my best for those around about me. Whether anybody else cared or not, I did my best. And I will tell you, I believe that we as fathers sometimes lose the focus on the fact that what we're doing satisfies us in the long run as well as helps others. Our heart should be in the place where, Lord, I want to do the right thing. And when I read this, that he might present it to himself, a glorious church, he wasn't doing it just for that reason. But there's a feeling with Jesus Christ the Son today that I've done my best. I gave my life. I've done everything I can. And what I want from that, what reward, if you want to use that word, what reward I want from that is I want a glorious church that without spot or wrinkle, is holy and without blemish. That's my desire, is to have those around about me that's forgiven of their sins. And you ever wonder why that there's rejoicing in heaven when someone gets saved? Because Jesus Christ said it makes it worth it all over again. When I gave my life, when somebody else comes to me, it makes it worth it all over again. And if it happens this way, God the Father looks at the Son Jesus Christ and says, it hurt to give you. It hurt to let you give of your life. But every time you do, another one is saved, another one has been forgiven of their sin, and it's worth it. I believe today that I guess bottom line, what I'm trying to say is, as fathers, let God be our example. It's the best thing we can do is let God be our example this morning. Our example in love, as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. If you remember Jesus in 3.5 years, and I've probably said it before, but I know I've talked to Susan, I think I've said it in church before, but if you really think about Jesus, that was probably the most intense 3.5 years that anybody's put in with anything almost. A lot of people's worked hard in their lives. A lot of people's basically worked day and night in their lives. But Jesus gave us 3.5 years of the most intense ministry that I think any human could have ever done. You look at the life of Jesus, it said he would go to the mountains and pray. And a lot of times they followed him to the mountains. He got some nights in prayer, but a lot of times, everywhere he went, people followed him. Everywhere he went, they demanded more of him. Everywhere they went, they questioned him. Some places he went, the religious leaders was trying to destroy him by their questions. Everything about his life was intense. But he did it gladly and willingly for us. Aren't you glad that we have an example of Jesus Christ that we can pattern ourselves after? Husbands, love your wives. I hope I haven't got on to anyone this morning. I didn't mean to do that. But I do say this, husbands, us learn to love. Fathers, us learn to love. And most of you already do. All of you, as far as I know, you do a good job of that, and we appreciate that. Just keep up the good work. But keep in mind that our duty is to love. Let's stand together this morning. Again, we're glad for each one that's here this morning. Thank you for being here. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee again today, we thank Thee for your help. We thank Thee for your Spirit. We ask that you would be here to help every one of us that needs your help. Dear Father, in the coming days, help us to follow Thee closer, to realize you're the most important things in our life. A godly example, love for each other is the best witness that we can have, and help us to be as you'd have us to be. We ask in Thy name.